Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum viewers. Welcome to another edition of Defense and Diplomacy. I'm your host, Sultan M. Hali. Julian Paul Assange, the face of the whistleblower website WikiLeaks, has been named by the Times as its 9th person in the list of 100 most influential persons. In fact, he has been placed well ahead of Hillary Rodham Clinton, Michelle Obama, and a number of other personalities. The latest cache of leaks pertains to 779 prisoners or inmates of the infamous military prison in Guantanamo, out of which 607 have been released so far. But some of these leaks appear to be selective as they malign Pakistan. However, before I introduce my guests, I would like to show you a short segment. The drone attacks are wreaking havoc on the skies of the tribal region of Pakistan. The main culprits are the MiQ-1 Predator and MiQ-9 Reaper. The weapon system they are using are the Hellfire missiles, which are causing a very high collateral damage, namely 10 civilians killed to 1 miscreant. This is a very high number and totally unacceptable because Pakistan has lost something like 2,934 souls in 234 attacks in the last 8 years. So welcome back to the program. Viewers, to discuss this malicious propaganda against Pakistan, we are honored to have in our studio today Dr. Moeed Pirzada, who is the Director of World Affairs for Pakistan Television. Welcome, Moeed. And we have Symbol Khan, who is at the Institute of Strategic Studies and is a well-known face at PTV. Welcome. Let's start the debate with you, Dr. Pirzada. How do you look at this particular leak? Is it a selective leak to malign Pakistan or what else?
Sir, thank you so much. You cannot look at any specific leak if you just ignore the series of leaks that have been happening since the end of the last year. I mean, the first batch of leaks was about Pakistan, Afghanistan, and ISI. Then we saw there were leaks that related to developments in Middle East and cables that originated from various Middle Eastern capitals. We also saw the leaks that originated from Germany and France and from United Kingdom. Now we have also seen that the Indian newspaper, The Hindu, has acquired a collection of cables that pertain specifically to India, which talk of the corruption in India. Recently there was being debated was how Indians are the largest source of black money that is being kept in Swiss bank accounts, and the WikiLeaks group is actually threatening. Julian Assange was actually in a press briefing in London threatening that soon the WikiLeaks will actually publish the names. So to just say that one particular leak or any leak or a few leaks that actually relate to ISI or to Pakistan are just the whole purpose of the WikiLeaks is to malign Pakistan. Yes, since Pakistanis are very paranoid,
let me rephrase my question. I'm not saying the WikiLeaks is responsible for this selective leak, but the people who have published it, they have picked out those portions which show the ISI in a bad light.
Yeah, that I will agree. That I'll readily agree. You see, what happens is that there are two problems actually. Not only the people, for instance, the New York Times or Guardian or the Wall Street Journal selectively choose, because obviously they have the fixed point of view or prejudice or a certain kind of way of looking at ISI in Pakistan, and when they see the information, they selectively use it. But there is another problem, a bigger problem. The problem is this, that for the last many months, ever since the WikiLeaks has started to appear, we have increasingly found, again and again, WikiLeaks, Julian Assange himself and many others have said, we will publish them after getting a sort of security clearance. So there is an agency, probably CIA or some other American agencies, that keep on influencing the WikiLeaks that you cannot publish this, you cannot release this, because this is against national security, it will cause the risk to the life of the US servicemen or other kind of assets in Afghanistan or worldwide. So there is already, either it is a conspiracy, I cannot say, but somehow or the other, since the American intelligence agencies are very smart, very clever, very resourceful, they have been able to influence upon WikiLeaks and Julian Assange that you shall not do this, you shall not do this. So what is coming out of it? First of all, there's a first filter. So first comes out is something which nothing serious has ever appeared which is against the interest of the Western Alliance or of the United States. I have not seen it. If Symbol has seen anything which really damages the US foreign policy, I haven't really seen it. The second thing is, obviously, I have my sets of prejudices. If I will get hold of the WikiLeaks, I will see what damages India, what damages United States. So I think these reporters and journalists and editorial boards, we know the fixed biases of New York Times, the fixed biases of Wall Street Journal and Washington Post.
So if you just hold that thought, let me solicit the opinion of Symbol. How do you look at it? You see, especially, I mean, pardon me, you can disagree with me. My humble opinion is that this particular set of WikiLeaks pertains to Guantanamo. Therefore, it was supposed to show the human rights abuse. However, that has been brushed under the carpet, and the ISI has been brought into the forefront.
I think this latest release that has happened, the WikiLeaks installment that we are seeing, I think initially, as you're saying, I absolutely agree with you. It all started with the thrust on the whole, the Gitmo Bay debate, and how that, it's basically the trial, the prisoners undergoing trial there, that is not the right place that they should have undergone for trial. The trials should have been moved, tied to President Obama's policy on Gitmo Bay, which was very, very clear. Guantanamo Bay, he was very clear that he wanted to shut the Guantanamo Bay, and how that played out in the internal dynamics of US politics. It started off like that. And there it is initial, if you look about a week ago, the initial reports that were coming out, they talked about torture, they talked about information obtained under torture, they talked about a lot of issues. But of course, the selectivity comes in, because we must realize one thing. This is right now, Iraq as a war front has died down. Afghanistan right now, the AFPAC area, as they like to put it, right now is the critical war front, is the point where things are malleable, things are changing, there is a huge dynamic happening. I think the policy, US-Afghan war strategy, it is poised at a very critical moment. It is going to change in the coming months. The troop withdrawal is going to start setting in. So there is definitely this interest and focus. And of course, then right now we've seen, if you look at it in the backdrop of US-Pakistan relations in the past 6 months, we've seen a downward graph. It all exploded over Raymond Davis.
Let me come back to this particular set of leaks. You see, let me take a few names. For example, there is this gentleman, if I can call him a gentleman, Harun Shirzad Afghani, Kakul Hafiz, then there is Mullah Hamidullah, Hajirullah, Khairullah Saad, Wali Khair. These are persons who were apprehended, tracked and arrested by the ISI. Yes. And their you see, evidence has been taken out of the interrogation. First of all, the interrogation was under duress. Secondly, these people, they have a score to settle with ISI. So we don't expect that they will shower accolades on the ISI.
Absolutely, Hali Saab. And the other thing is the last section of the first section of the WikiLeaks that came out last year, which Moeed has also been talking about. In that also, that time, the whole thing was that the raw war logs came out. This time, then after that, there was a lot of hue and cry in the US saying that when the WikiLeaks revealed the raw war logs, there were lots of names and the actual inscriptions in the hands of the soldiers on those war logs, basically. All that fact for raw intelligence that was put in, and that revealed a lot of names of people who are actually still on the field, and it jeopardized life. So this time there was a change as to what you were also referring to. The way they have been presented, it's a cleansed kind of a version. You don't actually see the exact recordings, so that raises a lot of questions as to what was removed from that information that has trickled down. There are questions on that. The other thing is that, yes, of course, and that time when the war logs came out the first time, the whole, because they revealed very clearly how that information was taken out. They had given the names of the people who had informed exactly when and how, under what detention thing. So it was far more transparent how that information was received. Here you just have the testimony of these people that has been thrown at, which was of course arrested by the ISI themselves. So there is a clear linkage that all that intelligence coming in would be, of course, prejudiced towards against the ISI. That will definitely is built in. And the other thing is that even the last time the the war logs, it also, a lot of information was coming from the Afghan NDS intelligence services.
Yeah.
A lot of information was based coming out of there, which again, the relationship between Pakistan and the NDS has been suspect for a long time.
Right.
So lots of doubts on the sources of this intelligence.
So Dr. Pirzada, this particular case you were talking about earlier before the program, the case of Adil al-Jazairi Hamlili.
Adil Hadi al-Jazairi bin Hamlili, who was also on the pay list and recruitment of MI6, the British intelligence agency.
And
But the worst thing is that he is supposed to be responsible for 2 attacks on churches over here, one in the diplomatic enclave, which actually killed a US diplomat and his daughter, and a major attack on the Sheraton Hotel. And yet this person not only ends up over there, he's handed over by Pakistan, but after basic interrogation, he's set scot-free and he's back doing whatever his grey business which he was supposed to be doing. How do you look at it?
See, there are 2 interesting aspects of it. First of all, this piece of information, which is in my hand, which is published by Independent and is a WikiLeaks, which actually shows that WikiLeaks is not at least actively a part of any kind of conspiracy. All kind of information which is coming in their hands, the cable or whatever information that is coming in their hand, they're just publishing it. They're giving to newspapers, and then newspapers and other portals or television channels are selectively using it, which we have just discussed. Now coming to the second aspect, that what is the meaning and significance of this? This actually raises very, very serious questions. We have a lot of conspiracy theorists and mongers in Pakistan who have always argued this thing, that the series of explosions in Pakistan that are taking place against the Western interest, against the shrines, the mazars, against the Ahl-e-Tashi or the Sunni or one or the other kind of sect, or against the Sri Lankan cricket team, or against the foreign assets. The nature and the series of attacks that end up creating a sense of fear, insecurity, instability about the state of Pakistan, that how dangerous it is, ends up in completing an isolation of the Pakistan. Probably there is a strategic mindset behind it. Now, when we actually get a cable, which no one is really picking up, if I look at it from my editorial judgment, if New York Times and Washington Post and Guardian are really serious about understanding what is happening in Pakistan, if the media is really free, if the Western media is not politically aligned with their own political establishments or with their own foreign policy interests, they should really raise the question that what is the significance of the fact that a person that blows up churches in Pakistan, kills the Americans in Pakistan, is actually partly working just like David Headley, who in the Bombay case, well, was also on the MI6 thing. What does it mean? Was he getting, I mean, I'm not blaming MI6, but the point is this, what is MI6 role? We also know how MI6 was implicated in some agents of MI6 were arrested in Basra when the British forces actually attacked the Basra police station a few years ago in Iraq to get them rescued, and they were found with explosives and guns. Then we have CIA contractors in Pakistan that are carrying with guns, GPS equipment and explosives. All these things raise very serious questions. Normally people like us would be afraid and shy of talking about them because we feel like that if we actually say these things, people would take that you are conspiracy mongers. The Western media will immediately say he's a conspiracy monger, she's a conspiracy monger. But here we have some serious questions.
Exactly, and this is a story not conjured by you or me, but it is there on the Independent. In fact, I saw a report on the BBC also. So people should ask these questions.
Absolutely, Halisa, but that's the whole thing. It's not just now, this has come out, as Mohit is saying, that it's out in the open, it's been not released by us. But they have been since 9/11. There have been such serious kind of allegations about this whole murkiness of this whole war against terror, murkiness of the people who are operating, who is basically on whose payroll. It's not the first time. I mean, I think it was a year and a half, 2 years ago, when you had that biggest coast bombing in Camp Chapman, where this Jordanian double agent again, who had gone in and blew himself up, and he actually was basically on the payroll of the Americans and the Jordanian intelligence agency. He, of course, turned against them and he blew himself up. But how many, for us, the important thing is how many of the double agents are actually there on the ground in the tribal belt who have not turned, who are actually working for international agencies, working for other intelligence agencies. There are lots and lots of questions raised about the Al-Qaeda itself.
Or have been penetrated.
Exactly. No, and about the Al-Qaeda itself, about the various kind of linkages that have talked about with various intelligence agencies around the world. I mean, these things had started coming to light very early after 9/11.
Right.
So,
Which actually brings us to another very interesting aspect, which we seldom discuss, that how Western media, or the American media, are actually free, ferociously free when it comes to domestic national politics, when they're actually writing against the Republicans or the Democrats, the Tea Party, or the domestic economy. They're ferociously independent. And they're very incisive and they're very insightful.